So my name is Dr. Razi, and I'm a pediatrician. I've been working with kids for about 30 years, and I'm very interested in getting across the concepts of, basic concepts of good nutrition for kids, because I think we've lost our knowledge completely, and it's making our kids sick, and it's not that difficult to get that knowledge back. So, okay. I want to just give some of the very typical consultations that I have in my office. This is something, there are cases like this that I see at least once a week, where a family comes in and says, my child has been on antibiotics 5 or 6 times this year, sometimes more, and usually it's going to be for respiratory problems, like my child is always congested, runny nose, and has had ear infections and sinus infections, and maybe had tubes put in. And is there anything that we can do? Is there anything different that we can do? And I always ask about family history, but then I always ask for a history of what people eat. And usually what the usual foods that I'm told that kids have are maybe, eggs and cheese for breakfast and a cup of milk, and for lunch some cheese sticks, maybe a couple of carrots, and oftentimes pieces of ham, something like that. And then for dinner, oftentimes it'll be something like chicken nuggets and some potatoes and maybe a green like broccoli that a child will eat. And here and there for snacks, they're going to have sometimes the kind of pureed and sweetened applesauce or something like that. And sometimes, very often, it's going to be cheese sticks or some sort of packaged crackers with peanut butter. And oftentimes the main drink is milk. Sometimes it can be soy milk, and occasionally it's juice. But very rarely do I hear that the main drink of a 2-year-old or 3-year-old is water. And so when I hear this, I understand, because I know that in that diet there are very, very few live nutrients that are going to allow children to heal. And all this mucus, this production of white cells, is an effort at the body trying to heal, but it's not able to, because it doesn't, these white cells actually don't have they don't have the power that they need to have, because they are not getting the live nutrients that you get from fresh fruits and fresh vegetables and whole fats and whole proteins. In this diet that I've described, there's very little fresh at all. So the first thing I say is, okay, let's make some changes. Let's get some fruits in there at breakfast. Simple oatmeal and fruit, and add in some fat, like in either some butter or a nut butter if I think that the child is allergic to dairy or is having a response to dairy. And at lunch, let's try and get in lots of beans and fruits and vegetables, sometimes like a chili is something that kids will eat, or a vegetable soup, a vegetable bean soup, or hummus, or chicken and broccoli. And keep the bread and the breaded part of things at a minimum. And if they need snacks, that they be apples and different fruits and nuts or nut butters. And for dinner, just a meat and some vegetables and perhaps some rice, potatoes, and fruit. And the main drink to be water. The difference that happens to those children, the parents say the child will not do it. And I say, try. Please try. And the kids come back, and if they're very mucousy, I do ask them to go off of dairy for a period of time, so that the kids' appetite, because dairy is always, it's got a high fat content, and so children aren't that hungry when they're having dairy. And so I say, take away the dairy so that there'll be more hunger. And they come back, and the kids are very, very frequently just mucus-free and much, much more energetic. And then the parents will say, they're happier, they're sleeping better, they have more energy to play, they're less cranky. They're big changes, and it's because those children, even though they were eating, they were not getting the live nutrients, the vitamins, and the healthy fats that they needed. They were getting calories, but not the things that help us to heal. And so that's what I want to say on that front, that it's not the industry talks a lot about low fat and low salt and low sugar, but anything that's processed, you have taken away the essential live quality that is healing, in things. A potato chip is not at all, does not have anything like the nutritional content of a simple boiled potato on which you've put a little bit of butter, or a sweet potato or squash. You can't process it and keep the healing elements in it. The healing elements don't come in powdered form, they come in the live form. And when you microwave things, those live nutrients go. When you overboil and overcook, those live nutrients go. So there's a lot to learn, and it is completely worth it, because that child who is no longer mucousy but full of energy, and you've given him possibility of a much healthier life.